Hey everyone, my name is Jake Sheldon. I am here with Danny Leibrandt. He is the owner of Pest Control SEO, a successful marketing agency for pest control owners. So what we're going over today, I have some notes here for you, Danny. We're going to have quite a few questions for you. One of the first things I wanted to cover with the audience here is how to set up a website for pest control. And I guess one of the main questions is how important is a website for pest control? Maybe we should answer that one first, is really how important is the website for a pest control company?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Jake. And I will say that having a website is incredibly important. You can think of it almost as like your digital storefront. So when you think about having an actual physical business, that you have people walking by and, oh, okay, hey, look, that's Julie's Bakery or whatever. It's Panera Bread. It might be a bigger chain. But this is how people know you. This is how people kind of land on your business and then get to know more about you. So for, again, these other local businesses, they see it, it might seem nice. Oh, it's a bakery. Oh, it's a coffee shop. Oh, it's a pizza place. Like, okay, I'll walk in there. And that's kind of the same with your website as well, is that people will do a search, and they might do a search for pest control near me, or they might even do a search for your actual site, and they get there, and then that is them like walking into the store. And when they get into the store, what do they see? If someone lands on your website, or let's actually take the analogy further, if someone walked into your physical storefront and they saw that it was a complete mess, that there are boxes everywhere, it's totally dirty, your employees are like wearing ragged clothes and such, then you'd probably not want to go in that place. You probably would not want to purchase anything from them. And that's kind of the same way you can think about your website. So when someone comes on your website, you want to make sure that it's presentable, that it also matches your brand. And that's something that we've been talking about lately of how important branding is. We want to make sure that that branding is not only on your truck, on your logo, on these other things, but that it's also on your website and that your website looks really good. And I know that this is actually, people kind of talk about this too much, and I think there's kind of this back and forth between like SEO versus design, but we really actually need both. I think you really should have a great looking website, and this is something Jonas talks about, of having a premium brand, and a big part of that is having a premium looking website. Yeah. So that is more so the design aspect, but then there's a whole nother aspect of your website actually potentially making you money, of ranking on keywords and such.
Yep. So that actually leads to my next question is like, what are the actual components that you need on the website? Like, what do the pages look like? What do the buttons look like? What do people actually need as far as like the components of the website?
Yeah, so let's talk about the pages first. So actually the very first page you should have, and really everyone has this, is your homepage. So your homepage, everyone should have this, assuming you have a domain and there's some kind of website built out, that will be actually just your domain. And that might be xyzpestcontrol.com, that might be greendaypest.com, pestcontrolseo.com. That will be my homepage. And something also most people don't understand is that a website, like a lot of people say, oh, rank my website number one and just do SEO for me. It's like, well, the first thing you need to understand is that a website is a collection of pages. So it's not just one page. It's not like, it is a collection of pages. And a lot of people are like, oh, a lot of different websites. It's like, no, it's under the same domain. There are just different pages within that site as a whole. So that's the first thing you need to understand. And then regarding what actual pages to have on the site, again, you need that homepage, obviously. And that's where a lot of people are going to land. So assuming you might be putting that on your truck, that might be on the mailers, that might be on other places, your website is probably going to be plastered everywhere, and you're likely not going to be taking them to those other pages. A lot of times you're going to be taking people to your website of, you might get a referral, or you might be talking to someone and they're like, oh, tell me more about your company, or give me your website. And obviously you're not going to take them to some random page. They're going to go to your homepage. So that's obviously super important. We want to make sure that's set up and optimized, which we can jump into a little bit more. In terms of other web pages that we want to have, There are some kind of core basic ones. So we want to make sure that we have an about page. We want to make sure that we have a contact page. Kind of more technical, we want to have a 404 page. We want to have a privacy policy. We want to have terms and conditions. Those are kind of just some more like base pages that Google is looking for. And this is actually proven that Google sees you as more legit if you have something like a privacy policy and a terms of conditions. And that's not just like if you're a big software company, that's literally any company. And you can generate one of those in like 1 minute with ChatGPT. So that's not like a big deal. It's just make an extra page, privacy dash policy, and then make that page. Beyond that, pages that I recommend every pest control company set up is, and we can get into complex architecture and structure within the site. I won't go too deep into that yet, but something else that I really like to hone in on and focus on is what are called money pages, or as a lot of people might know, location pages or location service pages. And these are going to be the pages that are actually optimized for your top keywords. So your top keywords might be, I live in Chicago, so that might be pest control Chicago, or, the cities nearby. That might be pest control Glenview, pest control Evanston, pest control Northbrook. All of those different cities combined with all those services, those are the keywords that you want to show up for. And all of those top keywords that you want to show up for, we should have a page that is dedicated to them. Now, you don't have to go like too crazy with this. There is a certain threshold. Really the way to think of this is one concept per page. And I get this from Kyle Roof. He's one of the top people in on-page SEO. I interviewed him a while ago on my show. One concept per page. So for instance, if we take a group of keywords, let's say pest control Chicago pest control, Chicago exterminators, Chicago pest control services, that's all the same page because that's all basically the same thing. But if we switch the city, like I was just saying, pest control Chicago versus pest control Northbrook, that's actually different. Pest control in Chicago is different from pest control in Northbrook. So the money pages on your site, like I was saying, we're going to want to create pages for all of the main keywords that we want to target. And those are going to be the bottom of funnel keywords that will be things like pest control Chicago, pest control Northbrook, pest control Glenview. So really, and like to make this actionable for pest control owners, the top cities that you serve, you should have a page dedicated to each of those so that you can tell Google that, hey, we serve these areas and we want to show up in these areas. And then when someone does a Google search, it will show that page because Google is looking for ideally an exact match result. Now, it doesn't have to be exact, totally exact, as in like, someone optimized for pest control Chicago and I did it for Chicago pest control, so I'm going to lose it. It's not as in depth as that, and you usually don't have to take it to that extent because things are now becoming more like ChatGPT and AI mode and such, where now it's actually they're targeting conceptual rather than just keywords. But regardless, we still want those location pages in place, and that informs the search engines and the large language models of what your site is about, like what you do. And then some other pages we should have on the site, we should definitely have a blog page, and ideally that acts as almost a category page. So it'll be like XYZ pest control.com/blog, and then there will be / and then you'll have all your blogs there. So don't make the mistake of having all of your blogs, just your website / and then the URL, but the blogs should all be in their own dedicated category. And then some other pages you might want to have, and some ones that we typically recommend, really kind of the last ones here, would be maybe a pest library. You'll see a lot of companies do this, and you could consider it overkill. I wouldn't say it's a requirement, but this still is really good for building what's called topical relevance. Again, it's not so much like we're ranking these pages and it's going to like totally drive our SEO, but it's more so just informing search engines, having a good amount of pages on our site saying, hey, we're talking all about ants and we're talking all about mosquitoes. Like, we are the authority on this topic. And actually, just like we're doing here, of how we're talking about all the different things regarding pest control marketing and repurposing that into a site, that is showing authority. So talking about all the different bugs, hey, we know, like, we're pest control experts. We know all about bed bugs. We know all about termites. So that's something to consider as well. So there's that. I kind of picked one part of that question, but that is overall like really all the pages you want on the site.
Yep. Now, to kind of, you touched a little bit on some of the mistakes. What are some of the mistakes, like the setup mistakes on the website that that can impact the SEO as well?
Yeah, there's so many different set of mistakes. It's ridiculous. And they're like, I also like to preface this with, I see like the elements of Google in 4 components really, and that would be your, and in order in terms of ranking, I'll list them, your local service ads, Google ads, Google Business Profile, and website. And local service ads and Google Business Profile are pretty easy. They're relatively easy. Website and Google ads are kind of a nightmare, especially your website. There's so much that goes on there. It is just really a complete mess. If anyone's ever tried to go into WordPress, like you're talking to me about, it's just like, you have no idea what you're doing. One of my friends runs his dad's construction company, and he logged into WordPress for the first time ever. And he was like, dude, what is this?
Wow, this is a lot.
Yeah, I have no idea what to do. So yeah, it's really confusing. It's hard to go into something like WordPress for the first time, which is usually kind of the main development tool. But in terms of some common mistakes regarding the site, one big one that I usually recommend is that we should optimize the homepage for the brand. So like I told you, how you should do SEO is you create tons of different pages on all of the concepts that you want to cover, and that's one concept per page. So you shouldn't do several pages on the exact same thing, because that's considered duplicate content. And Google's either going to take one of those pages down, or it might take both of them down. And overall, you're just going to be deemed kind of less trustworthy in Google's eyes. It's like, why are you creating all this duplicate content? Are you a spammer? Like, and now with all the AI stuff, are you just generating all these pages and duplicating them? Like, what are you doing? So regarding the one topic or one concept per page, your homepage, a lot of people like to optimize it for different keywords, but you should be optimizing your other pages for keywords. And let's optimize the homepage for your brand. So your homepage, the H1, the title tag, throughout the page, that will be the different headers. In the text and such, we should be mentioning the brand name over and over. So to ensure when people are searching up our company, that our homepage shows up first. And that's the thing that we're going to spend a lot of time on. A lot of people are going to land there. I'd say another pretty common mistake that I see with pest control websites, kind of just more generally speaking, like we're doing here, is page speed. So a lot of companies, this is kind of hit or miss. I see some companies just like randomly crush this, and then other companies completely drop the ball. I do a page speed insights search, which is free. You can go to PageSpeed, what is it?
.dev or?
Yeah, PageSpeed.web.dev or something. PageSpeed, you can just search PageSpeed Insights. And this is a free Google tool that you can analyze any site and even any page within your site. So you can do this for every single page on your site if you want to. And with a lot of websites you see, and by the way, also with this report, it will split it into mobile and desktop. So the mobile score will always be worse. Mobile just happens to perform much worse, maybe 2 to 3 times worse. So you might see that your mobile score, like a pretty healthy one is, mobile takes about 3 seconds to load, and then your desktop takes about 1 second to load. That's kind of standard, not necessarily optimal, but like that's something we should at least like initially shoot for. But some companies that I look at, their homepage, some of the most important pages on their site are taking 10 seconds to load, 20 seconds to load. So when you think about your target market, when you think about people landing on your site, and maybe they came from a referral, or they came from whatever source, and are they going to wait 10 seconds for your page to load?
No
are they going to sit there? And also there's different components within it, but at least the first one we want to look at is the first contentful paint, meaning how long does it take for the first initial load of the page, or the first initial piece of content of the page that is visible to load? If that's taking more than 10 seconds, really, it shouldn't be taking any more than like 3 to 4 seconds, because people naturally drop off after all of that time. And especially now that people have like the attention span of a goldfish. Yeah. Literally, I think people actually have a worse attention span than a goldfish. I'm pretty sure goldfish have an attention span of 8 seconds, and we have an attention span of 7 seconds on average, which is nuts. So you think that someone is going to wait all of that time to let your site load, and there's so many competitors out there. It's not like you're just in a market of one and you're just, selling a hot dog stand outside of a college of hungry people. Like, no, there are tons of pest control companies out there. You have so much competition, so you need to make sure that you get that leg up. And that's a really easy one. That's also fairly early in the funnel that most people don't cover.
Mm-hmm. Hey guys, real quick, if you guys are really looking to grow your pest control company, check out what we do at pestcontrolmillionaires.com.
And kind of go off that point. So what hosting sites are the best to keep that page speed high? And so you're not competing with the goldfish.
Yeah, definitely. So we want to be built on WordPress, which we've been kind of mentioning. About 50% of the internet is built on WordPress, might be 42% or something. Most of the internet is built on WordPress. And then also our actual, domain hosting provider, our hosting provider would be WP Engine. That's a really strong one. And then outside of that, something that we should also have set up for a company is Cloudflare. A lot of companies don't have this in place, but this not only helps site security, which is kind of what it's more known for, but that also helps with page speed. So we want to make sure that we have Cloudflare set up. We want to make sure that we're using WP Engine and that we're using WordPress. And then within WordPress, there's also a good amount we can do regarding optimization in plugins. So that's also where you're going to see a bulk of increase in efforts here, is that Cloudflare will do a good amount. WP Engine will definitely help. But kind of like the final straw here will be using some kind of SEO plugins. So that would be, first off, we have to have some kind of key SEO plugin. A pretty standard free one is Yoast SEO. So if you don't have any, then you should definitely have that one set up. For my agency and what we use for our clients, we like to use Rank Math. It's a little bit more expensive. It's a little bit more complex. But we like that more, and there are page speed tools that we can do within that. And then there are some other tools that we can use, such as like WP Rocket. That also helps with page speed. And then we should also have specifically one kind of image optimization tool. And there are plenty out there. It doesn't really matter. There's one connected directly to WP Rocket, so we usually just use that one. But there should be a dedicated image compressing plugin within your site, because the images are usually what takes a lot of the load speed, or really what increases the load speed the most. That you have these huge images and they might be marked as like a 5,000 by 5,000 picture, and you can show it as 100 by 100, and that's basically, it looks the same. The quality might be a tiny bit worse, but no one can even really tell, except it makes the page way faster. So we should definitely have some kind of, we should need the page speed plugin, and we also need some kind of image compressing plugin.
Love that. Now, you hit on page speed a lot. And a lot of people are on mobiles now, which they're mobile devices, which you even want it faster, like we're saying, sometimes even 2 to 3 seconds, right? Mm-hmm. So that goes into my next question, is how important is the mobile optimization for the pest control sites?
Yeah, so there's this key split between mobile and desktop. And mobile, depending on who you hear from, mobile is about 60 to 70% of searches. And that means that desktop would be about 30 to 40% of searches. Mm-hmm. So there are definitely more people searching on mobile than desktop. So that is why we want to optimize for mobile. Obviously, when people didn't have phones and it wasn't such a big deal, then we didn't have to worry too much. But a lot of people, most people, the average search, people are searching from their phones. And like I said, regarding the page speed on mobile is always going to be slower. I've never seen a scenario where this isn't the case, unless the site is like broken or something. So we want to make sure that we optimize for the mobile page speed, and then that naturally takes care of the desktop page speed. So yeah, mobile is incredibly important. More searchers than not are searching on mobile. So let's optimize for that first, and then that naturally takes care of desktop.
Perfect. Now the next question is, how should the site be structured with the navigation and be organized for that maximum SEO benefit?
Yeah, so this might be a little bit too complex for the average pest control owner, so I won't jump too deep into this. But typically how the site should be built out is you demonstrate categories. So I showed you on the whiteboard earlier of we have core pages that are built upon. So for every pest control company, I mentioned the bottom of funnel pages and such, but ideally, if you are structuring the site the right way, then you should have a category page for termite control, really all the main services that you provide to demonstrate to Google clearly what you do, who you guys are. So a page for termite control, for ant control, for mosquito control, for spider control, all these different pages. And that acts as a category page. And then we have a page beyond that. And that could either then be turned into a location page. And that could be, slash termite control slash Chicago, or we could do slash termite control slash, and then the termites that we serve. Usually the way we like to structure it, because there's like a bunch of different ways, but typically the way we like to do it is doing our location pages that way. So we have the general service pages, which again, slash termite control, slash ant control, slash spider control, whatever. And then we have the locations after that. So slash termite dash control slash Chicago dash IL. And that is our termite control Chicago page on our site. So that's kind of how we should be thinking about the structure there. And that goes for some other pages as well, like your pest library. So for the pest library, that would be, xyzpestcontrol.com slash pest dash library slash ants slash spiders slash termites, all the different pests that you serve. That shows to Google very clearly, okay, you have a library of all the things that you provide, versus just every page on the site is it's just directly connected to the domain. Versus when you demonstrate categories, it also shows depth of concept that, hey, we know all about termite control, and we have a page for that, but we also have pages within that because we have so much expertise within the termite control category and within the ant control category and these other things. And then another thing, probably the last thing I'll mention here regarding structure, is internal linking. So internal linking also plays into the structure. So first we need to build out and really identify what categories we want to have and how we want to build out the site. So it really should be that we have our homepage up here and that we have different category pages here. And then there might be pages within that, and then maybe even pages within those pages. And what we want to do from there is then start interlinking these pages. So when you have a top level category page connected, again, like let's say we have just a general pest control page, and then under that, within that category, we have Chicago, Illinois, we have Northbrook, Illinois, we have Glenview, Illinois. Those pages, the ones connecting to the category, should all be linking to each other. So Chicago, Illinois should be linking to pest control, and that should be linking back to that, to demonstrate even more clearly the architecture. So that's, I know that's like super complex. A lot of people won't understand that, but at least just to kind of grasp that of like, maybe you're building a new website, just something to consider of talking to your developer, like, hey, are we structuring the site right? Is like, are we doing whatever Danny's saying here? So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, no, that's great. Like that is a lot of info to cover. And what I wanted to hit on of why this is important as a pest control owner, because years ago, I wasn't putting enough emphasis on my website. And just coming from my perspective as a pest control owner, this does matter because ultimately it ranks you higher and you're going to get more calls. And for everyone watching this, they want more calls, they want more business. And that's why this is important. It's something that you don't want to just let pass by and you not care about. You need to do these things just like Jonas talks about all the time is doing everything. And this is one of the integral pieces to making the business successful, making the brand look professional and premium. So there was a lot to cover that, but don't discount this information. It's absolutely amazing. I know for a lot of people, it can be a little overwhelming for some of this types of info, but just watch this video a few times if you have to, because it is very, very important for your business and to really get dialed in so you can get more business, more calls, and be more successful in your pest control business. So
absolutely. No, I think that was a great episode. Thanks so much for having me, Jake.
Thanks.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I know that we really appreciate you guys taking the time with us here. If you guys have any questions, comments, make sure to throw them in the comment section below. And if you found this valuable, make sure to like and subscribe and to share with your friends who maybe own a service business themselves. Again, our goal here is to provide as much value to you guys as possible. Also, if you guys are really looking to grow your business, make sure to check out our website at pestcontrolmillionaires.com. We'll have the link below in the bio, and we'll also have a free school group for you guys to check out. So thanks for watching.